Greetings, friends, and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I am your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body, you are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here. Every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 3 decades plus of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing and regenerating system. It's designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while that may seem like a miracle to some folks, this renewing system is really nothing more than just the way the body works. And thanks for joining us, friends. Pharmacist Ben here, and you are listening to The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number if you have a comment, question, success story you'd like to share, and if you are especially concerned about, or if you've developed your own algorithm, your own strategy, your own formula for dealing with this crazy time we are in. I've been talking a lot about it, obviously. Today I did my moment of truth on a completely different subject. I thought that I've been talking about the coronavirus here for so long. I don't want people to get sick of this thing. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as an opportunity to improve health on a non-physical level, to improve health on a psychological level. I hesitate to say that because if you improve health on one level, you're going to tend to improve it on all levels or on other levels. So I want to be more psychological about what's going on today, or what's going on these days. Because really, in a way, this is a psychological or mental virus as much as it is any other kind of virus. It's an information virus. A virus, when we talk about a virus, this mysterious entity called a virus, and it is the most, by far and away, in a world of mystery, it is the most mysterious entity on the planet. And I say entity because I don't know what it is. It's a piece of information. It's just a piece of DNA. Now, that goes over a lot of our heads because DNA, we don't really know what DNA is, but to simplify it, DNA is a code. Every letter represents something. DNA is made up of letters, and those letters are, of course, molecules, but for simplicity's sake, we'll call them letters, and every letter represents something. In fact, every 3 letters represents an amino acid. And this is what the string of DNA really is. The string of DNA is a bunch of little letters, i.e. molecules, calling them letters, and each of these letters represents something, and the letters are divided up into triads or threes, and each one of these threes represents an amino acid. An amino acid, for example, like taurine might be ATG. I'm just making this up. An amino acid like glutamine might be TGA. There's 4 letters, by the way, ATGC. So they're all, of these 4 letters, every 3 of them in the long chain of DNA, which has billions and billions and billions of letters, by the way, represents an amino acid, and amino acids are strung together to form peptides, and that's a whole other story, how incredible that is. The peptides end up becoming proteins. But basically speaking, these letters in your DNA turn into amino acids. Well, a virus it's a rogue complex of letters that inserts itself into our letters and makes its own proteins. It uses our letters, our coding system, our DNA, to make its own proteins. It's unbelievable. And as if that wasn't unbelievable enough, viruses are so abundant. There's more on planet Earth than there are stars in the universe. By orders of magnitude, they're everywhere. Our bodies are saturated with them, immersed with them like a sponge in water. That's how immersed our bodies are in viruses. this is an amazing, amazing thing that nobody talks about. We just hear, oh, the virus. It's so silly when you think about it. The way we're presenting this thing is so unsophisticated. It is so childish. It is so infantile. All the stuff about numbers, and you think these brilliant scientists, right? I'm not talking about the viral scientists, the medical professionals would understand what they're talking about here, but what they're doing is they're stringing together statistics to present a picture, and not a nice picture. Everything we know about the societal impact of the coronavirus is based on statistics and modeling and people's opinions, and it doesn't really stand up to rigor, to scientific rigor, what's happening. What's happening politically doesn't stand up to scientific examination, and that's the problem. We are reacting. We as a culture, as a government, as a society, and as individuals are in reactive mode. When you do not do your best work in reactive mode, people, none of us do. The problem is we're reaction machines. We are hardwired to be reaction machines. It's like if there's two of us. There's a reaction machine and there's an action machine. The action machine is very subtle. The reaction machine is very, very unsophisticated. It's very, relatively, I should say. It's everything about the body sophisticated, everything about the psyche sophisticated, but it's relatively compared to the action machine. The reaction machine is automatic because our survival depends on it. Our life and death survival depends on the reaction machine. The action machine, you can get away without having the action machine. The action machine, see how I'm making the distinction between reaction and action. What's that distinction? Reaction is when you respond to what's happening. Action is when you generate. An action machine is more generative. A reaction machine is more reactive. We tend to operate from a reactive mode, not a generative mode. A generative mode is creative. It's what being a human being is about. It's to be generating new ideas. A reaction mode is automatic. They call it fight or flight. And to simplify, it's represented by the vagus and the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system. The action machine, this requires skill. The reaction machine, no, you're automatic. You hit a hammer on your knee, boom, your knee goes up. No skill involved. The action machine requires skill, and when you have a skill, it requires practice. The action machine must be practiced. The action machine is much more developed. It's more sophisticated. It's like a Ferrari compared to a tricycle. You have to learn a skill. You got to learn how to run the action machine, and a huge part of it is turning down the reaction machine, which is hardwired. So it's a little tricky. And by the way, when I say action machine, it's actually, this is how sophisticated it is. And this is how you have to really be thinking to understand the action machine. The action machine has to be in a state of stillness in order to take correct action. It's still action. It's called Wu Wei in Chinese. It's non-action action. It's action that's taken with a sense of equanimity. Equanimity. That's a key word, equanimity. And when we're in taking this kind of action, this non-action action, we're said to be in flow. Excuse me. So if you think this is some kind of weird Chinese or Oriental or Eastern mysticism, New Age thing, just start studying flow, which we've talked about a lot on this program. Flow is when we're not there and we're in action. Athletes know this state very, very well. They'll talk about, I heard a professional football player talking about how he was running, and it was the crowd went silent. It was like a movie. The way he was describing it. The crowd went silent, and it was just him. And he was there running, and he couldn't hear anything else. And then when he got close to the goal line, this is Marcus Allen, by the way, when he got close to the goal line, all of a sudden the crowd noise came back. Well, while everything was silent, he was in flow. He was there, but he wasn't there. He was acting, but he wasn't acting. It's very sophisticated, but these kinds of chaotic times, really require us to be able to understand and to leverage these ideas and these built-in biological abilities that we all have inherently built into us. All right, 844-236-6010 is our number. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll be back on the bright side right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I forgot to mention that we've got a guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Julie Gatz is going to talk to us about sugar and sugar everywhere. She's going to talk about sugar and its negative effects on health, but not just that, but how you can kick your sugar cravings. Sugar's got a powerful immune suppressant effect. It's one of the worst things you could eat if you're worried about the virus, and that includes bread and pasta and potatoes and such. Now, I shouldn't lump them all together because potatoes and sweet veggies, pumpkins and squashes, etc., carrots, beets, they have a different type of sugar. Yeah, it's fructose, but it's not the same kind of fructose that you get in processed foods or in soda pop or even in fruits, although fruits are better than soda pop. That's because the water in and the interaction between the water and the sugar in fruits and vegetables gives the sugar a different kind of quality, gives the fructose a slightly different electronic quality. So it's not, fruits and vegetables particularly, even sweet, can have some very important benefits. And you don't want to avoid your beets and your carrots and your tomatoes and your potatoes necessarily. Now, if you're interested in losing weight, you probably want to go easy on them, but just to be clear, the sugar is not the same. The fructose is not of the same quality as high fructose corn syrup or fructose that's used as a sweetener in processed foods. Processed foods definitely are not in our health interest. Definitely. How ironic is it that this is how reactive we are? This is how nonsensical we are. We're not thinking. I shouldn't say nonsensical. We're not thinking. We're not making sense. We're not being scientific here. We close everything except the McDonald's and the fast foods and the pizza places. This is where we're encouraged to eat, is the pizza places. So what's that about? And hamburger joints and Red Robin. Now they got Denny's and pancakes. You get your pancakes delivered. I mean, this is craziness. This is how non-scientific we are being. But we're quarantining everybody and shutting down the economy. To what end? To what disastrous end? We have no idea. But anyway. This is what I want us to understand is that there's ways we can deal. There's ways we can not only deal, there's ways we can thrive, but it requires understanding how our bodies work, how our minds work, etc. Dr. Julie Gatz is going to talk to us about sugar, and we'll take your phone calls this segment, 844-236-6010 if we have, 844-236-6010. If you want to purchase longevity products and you want to start a longevity business, and there is no better time than the present. There is no better time than when the economy goes to pot, when it just had a disastrous situation. I heard somebody saying a third of Americans are going to be unemployed. This is an opportunity to be your own boss. Remember, crisis means opportunity. This is an opportunity for you to finally get off your chairs, get out of bed, get off the couch, and get yourself to your computer and start planning on start planning on how you're going to start a home-based business. Whatever that is for you, start planning on how you are going to liberate yourself from an economic model that's not in the individual's interest as best as you can. Whatever that is. And that means exploring all your options. And if you like health stuff, that means exploring the longevity business opportunity, because not only is it a great business opportunity, and it is in the world of network marketing, it's one of the best, but it's also an opportunity for you to explore the health of your body, to learn about the health of your body, for you to teach other people about the health of their bodies. That's one of the neatest things about people who really engage in longevity. They become leaders, they become teachers, they become helpers actively. Not just, try this beyond Tangy Tangerine, but hey, do you know that electrolytes can help you with your blood circulation so that you can prevent dementia? And by the way, I did my Moment of Truth today on dementia. Check out our Moments of Truth on our Facebook page at The Bright Side with Pharmacist Ben, and also on criticalhealthnews.com, which we have videos and lots of good stuff up there. At criticalhealthnews.com, of course, you can sign up to join the Brightside Ben team at criticalhealthnews.com, pharmacistben.com, or brightsideben.com. You can also call 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. All right, so I want to continue talking about this idea of action, non-action, reaction. One of the best ways to learn this skill, and I'm telling you, this is an opportunity that we all have to take to learn this skill. The skill of being internally driven, being coming from a place of being solid inside you. This is what they teach you in martial arts. If anybody's ever done martial arts, this is what they teach you. They teach you the skill of coming from within, from inside you. And it's no accident that martial artists all meditate, or at least they're encouraged to meditate. And the really high-powered ones all meditate. Meditation is your practice to get into the flow. It's your practice to get into the action machine. It's the practice to get into the part of us that does the work without doing the work. Okay, that's the best way I could put it. It does the work without doing any work. It's a watcher. That's what I think G.P. Walsh called it, the watcher, maybe the witness. It's the part of us that's activated when we're in flow. Just like the football player who's running and he's not even there. I get it sometimes when I'm talking. I'm not even there when I'm talking. When I'm doing and public speakers will say that oftentimes, that their best talks are when they're not even there. This is the ultimate goal of athletic performance, high performance of all types, martial arts, martial artists. This is the type of flow that allows you to access your creativity and your ability to solve problems. That's what this is about. This is about solving problems. Human beings are capable of being problem solvers. We don't always access that part. In fact, very few of us access that part, but we're always capable of coming up with new ideas. This is what D. Copenhaver talked about yesterday. New ideas, new ways of being, new ways of responding. The reaction machine doesn't do that. It reacts historically. It reacts from millions of years. You know, if you poke a cell, it will contract. If you poke a cell, it's not going to, except for once in a very rare while, it's not going to respond to that poke in a way that gets it around the needle. It's just going to contract. Now, every once in a while, a cell will develop some kind of weird enzyme systems or proteins or something to dissolve the pin. Completely new solution. Guess what that's called? Evolution. That's how evolution happens. Every once in a while, a cell doesn't react or a system doesn't react. It thinks, or it comes up with a new solution, we'll say. That's what we are given an opportunity to do now, to come up with a new solution. What does that mean? It means we evolve, we get better. You don't have to be all hung up on the term evolution. It means we get better. That's what evolution means to me. We get better. We get more refined. We get more perfected. This is an opportunity for us to become more perfected as human beings. And boy, do we need a lot of... We have a long way to go. There's a lot of work we have to do to become perfected. But this is the first step. It's an obstacle course. It's like a workout. This is what this is. This is a workout. What's going on today in our culture is a psychic workout. It's a psychological workout, and it should be approached as such. And when a psychological workout is approached as a puzzle, a riddle, something a problem that you have to solve, you start to access a different part of your brain, and that's what's really important here. All right, we got Julie Gatza coming up at the bottom of the hour. Dr. Julie Gatza, we're going to talk about sugar and how to not gain weight during the coronavirus lockdown by kicking your sugar cravings. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. All right, we are back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Thanks for joining us. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive page at brightsideben.com. You'll find longevity products and the longevity business opportunity at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com. Also my blog and videos and various news stories. And thanks to Robert Lundgren for setting up pharmacistben.com. It's a really cool site now. And then also you can purchase our True Skin Health products. Never any preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, oils, silicone, water, nothing your skin doesn't need or doesn't want. And any of our True Skin Health products, we've got omega-6 healing cream on. There's a deal. I think it'll be out today. Free mist, free spoon with an omega-6 healing cream. Those of you who've used omega-6 healing cream know it's ridiculously effective for healing, and also for moisturizing the skin. It was actually formulated as a burn cream in my pharmacy many years ago. All right, I am excited to have our next guest on. Dr. Julie Gatza is going to talk to us about one of my favorite subjects, which is the subject of sugar, which is the ultimate bad guy when it comes to every single health challenge you can name, and that includes Alzheimer's disease and cancer and heart disease and autoimmune problems and digestive problems. Yes, digestive problems. There's all kinds of havoc that sugar wreaks on the body, but particularly on the immune system and also on the brain in terms of cortisol and stress and low blood sugar, etc. So we're going to talk to Julie Gatza. Dr. Julie Gatza is a chiropractor, DC. And she's also got a website, naturesources.com. I believe that's her website, naturesources.com. Please welcome to the bright side, Julie Gatza, Dr. Julie Gatza. What's up, Doc?
Hey, not much. How are you, Ben?
Good to talk to you. Where are you? Where am I speaking to you out of? Oh, you're in Florida, I guess.
Yeah, Clearwater, Florida.
What's it like out there?
Well, it's 84 degrees. It's slightly overcast. A little bit of wind. The streets are empty. People
You're
are
not
out,
at the beach?
biking
You're not going...
and enjoying the reprieve, so to say.
Hey, so listen, why aren't people dropping like flies in Florida? Because it's got all these elderly people, but yet I think the last I saw there's only like 20 people who died or 30 people who died in the whole state.
Yeah.
How come? Why is that?
Well, the heat helps. So the heat, purportedly is, the virus can't live in hot weather.
Is that true?
As easily as it can up there in the cold. So, I'm Chicago born, and, listening to the statistics up there with my family compared to down here is noticeably different.
Well, listen, Louisiana's having a problem. They're hot too, aren't they?
I don't know what their weather is, but they do go hot, cold, depending.
More than
They're
Florida.
wetter, sort of, than we are in that sense.
Okay, gotcha. So let's talk about sugar. Now, sugar's a really easy bad guy to pick on, but it's especially important today and these days because of, number one, because of the immune system, and number two, because of the brain, the whole hypoglycemic thing. Tell us a little bit about sugar, and then I want to talk to you about how we can kind of wean ourselves off of it.
Well, one of the things that happens with sugar is when you have people have a problem with the fact of, oh my goodness, I can't get off the sugar, I crave sugar, I need sugar, and they think that it's because they've just all of a sudden have no willpower, they've gone weak, and for some reason in their life they can't do it. And what I have seen is, and noticed very, very much, is you can have a yeast overgrowth in your digestive system, and yeast needs sugar to actually live. So the yeast in your digestive system can be basically craving the sugar, needing the sugar to live. So it turns a mechanism on in your body that you basically think you need sugar. And when you handle the yeast overgrowth in the digestive system, that sugar craving goes away. Then you have to clean up your diet and sort of knock that off because, once you eat sugar, you want more sugar. But there's a real way to handle it if you handle the yeast first.
So your strategy for sugar is to take care of candida and yeast and yeast infections, which is great. Have you heard of Dr. William Crook, by the way?
Yes.
Yes, so this is kind of simple. He talked about this many years ago. I think back in the 60s he was talking about it when it was really crazy to talk about this stuff. Now we know there's a mycobiome, right? MYCO, mycobiome.
Yep.
Isn't that interesting?
True.
So we have
Yeah, so the fact is we've all been on antibiotics at least once. It's very unusual if we haven't. Many of us have had surgeries or stress or different things happening in their life, and these things all can cause this yeast to overgrowth. So pretty much count on the fact that if you've been on one course of antibiotics, you've not knocked out the bacteria that should have been knocked out for like the lung or the ear infection if you're a child, but it's knocking out all bacteria, including the stuff that keeps yeast in good balance, because everyone has some form of yeast, but it needs to be in a balance, and when it loses its balance is when we get into problems.
And you know what else? You're being far too kind, because every human being is probably drinking antibiotics in their water or in their fish or in their meat, which are fed antibiotics and fed water with antibiotics. I mean, there's so many ways we get antibiotics aside from just being on a course, right? It's like the whole population. Right. The whole population is probably just dealing with dysbiosis and messed up gut bacteria just from being immersed in antibiotics. Every man, woman, and child, right?
And when we do say, all right, that's it, no more sugar. I'm not going to eat late at night. I'm not going to sneak the chocolate in my drawer and all these different things. The intention is really hard and high on this one, but it's the overgrowth that's causing you to actually fall apart every single time. And, not just that, the yeast overgrowth can cause so many unknown symptoms. There's the obvious that people, don't like to talk about and have themselves, but, the yeast infections, jock itch, fungal and nail and toe, infections. Those are the things that, yeast is part of. But then there's all sorts of other symptoms that go along with this, which can be, fatigue and brain fog and hormonal imbalance and skin conditions of all kinds. And, the list goes on, and no one, would basically say, oh, it's a yeast overgrowth. They just say, well, I'm unlucky to have this. What sort of med should I be taking?
And notoriously, yeast are much harder to kill than other organisms. They've got like shells, and they're very well protected. In fact, antifungal drugs are like among the most toxic drugs you could take, are Nizoral and these antifungal drugs that they give you, because they got to like destroy, cause a nuclear explosion to get through the protective mechanisms. Yeast are so well protected; they're pretty amazing when you think about it.
It's true, very much so.
Yeah, they're like a cross between an animal and a plant in a way.
They definitely, you want them on your team if you're going to war.
Yeah, you want them on your team. Exactly right. That's well said. So, how to deal with it? What are your suggestions for dealing with? Obviously, keeping your sugar down, but that's not the only way. There's got to be other ways to do it.
Well, I've been a doctor for almost 29 years, and one of the things that I used to try to put a bubble over my practice is patients that came in with yeast problems, because no kidding, it took anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to try to get under control. And they were the ones that, really knew what they had. They'd roll in with the suitcases filled with all their nutrients and vitamins and solutions. They were exhausted. They were, really beaten up. And it took a long time to correct. I had come across a product a number of years ago called Kolorex, Kolorex.
Hey, Doc,
it's a herb that is grown in New Zealand.
Hold on to that thought, Doc. We got to take a break. Hold on to that thought, okay? I want to talk about the herb, Kolorex. We're talking to Dr. Julie Gatza about yeast and its connection to sugar cravings, and also I want to get into some of the stuff with the sugar and the immune system. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. We'll be back after this. Okay, we're back on The Bright Side. We're talking to Dr. Julie Gatza about sugar and yeast, and Dr. Gatza's got some interesting stuff on our website, Nature Sources. This is your website, right? naturesources.com?
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about, I'm on your website now, let's talk about this idea of, first of all, killing yeast, mycosides. I guess you got some herbal mycosides and how those work, and then also the idea of digestive enzymes and how important those are.
Excellent. Well, the Kolorex is made up from a herb called horopito plant, and it grows indigenous to New Zealand and has been used for thousands of years to help all sorts of different types of health ailments. But in particular, it does help to break down and kill yeast colonies. And it's, you take one a day, it's 30 days lasting, and you just need one bottle, and it basically reestablishes the normal balance between the bacteria and the yeast in your gut. And you always need some yeast in the body, and you always want the bacteria to be, balanced with that. When you have a normal functioning digestive system is when you can absorb the nutrition that you're supposed to. You don't have to fight a whole bunch of things. You're not eating food that's basically just leaving the body and, was there momentarily without getting the nutrients from it. And, it's one of the key points of being able to absorb is to fix this imbalance that's going on.
Okay, so two quick questions. Number one, what can people expect after a round of Kolorex or horopito? And what exactly is the horopito doing? Is there a specific mechanism for killing yeast that you know of? And are there other things like horopito that would do the same thing, that would kill or would support it, that would also have anti-candida or anti-yeast effects?
So to answer your first question, it depends on whatever symptom a person has. I know I ran through the vaginal yeast infections, the jock itch, the toenail fungus. Those are all basic, yeast problem underlying what's happening with that. So when they take this, it's truly amazing in a 30-day period of time, and sometimes they need a 2-month course, but I've rarely seen that. all those symptoms go away, the obvious yeast. Then you have the other ones such as, fatigue and skin problems and even breaking out and brain fog and hormonal imbalance. When you establish normalcy in the gut, you then can get your health back. So, it happens in a very short period of time. Within 30 to 60 days, people noticeably see a difference. I had a patient that had chronic urinary tract infections, and she had gone on the Colorex, and it's now been a year and a half, and she used to get them every 6 weeks, and she hasn't had one in a year and a half once she went on one course of the Colorex.
Nail fungus in 30 to 60 days, people can notice an improvement?
Well,
that's a big
it kills
complaint.
The yeast problem. Nail fungus is one that takes some time and patience, and it never hurts to use other, topical things. But even this product line has a cream specifically for the nails. They have it also for herpes, like herpes simplex for the lips and different things. An intimate body wash that can also help with, outside yeast problems as well.
What is Horopito doing, and are there other things that can do similar things or support Horopito? Do you know what Horopito is doing exactly?
I did, and I'm sorry, you just got technical on me, so I'm going to, gently back away from giving you that.
Gotcha.
I haven't seen anything like it, and believe me, being in the alternative healthcare, I've been looking for things to make a yeast patient's life a lot easier, and certainly mine, so I don't have to see them for 6 months to 2 years, having them eliminate every amount of sugar and fruits and anything vinegary and, oh my goodness, and eat, the most clean diet you've ever seen. It was the biggest pain as a doctor was to treat a yeast patient. And I've not seen anything that equals this and does it in such a short period of time. And the other thing is, if you do need antibiotics and, if you do, feel like, wow, your body got imbalanced, you can take another 30-day course of this and it's handled. So it's not like it's an overwhelming, situation that previously we haven't had really great solutions for.
I spent some time with the Maori a few years ago in New Zealand, the indigenous population there.
The indigenous
and they used to chew. They would chew on it. They would chew on the leaf. They would use it like a tonic, like for stomach aches or for painkillers or just whatever they were. It was good for everything, and they would just kind of chew on it. The leaf.
It is good for everything that, this company, Nature's Sources, has marketed towards yeast because there's not anything else that I've seen. But I'm surprised that you actually know about it and you were there, and that's pretty cool.
I didn't. I was doing some speaking in New Zealand, and I met some Maori people, and they're beautiful. They're incredible people, and they, I don't know, I just hung out with them. I didn't spend that much time with them, but I saw that I talked to a couple people, and I saw people chewing on the leaf, which I thought was kind of interesting. So tell us about ways that you can kick the sugar habit, non-Horopito related, ways that you can kick the sugar habit or wean yourself off at least.
Good. So one of the things that you need to do is do not skip breakfast. What happens when you skip breakfast, and I know there's all sorts of diets out there right now, but this is just the normal average human being that's, trying to get the body healthier from this viewpoint, is when you eat protein in the morning. I'm not talking a cereal breakfast. I'm not talking a cup of coffee and a bagel. I'm talking where you sit down, you have some eggs, some bacon, some sausage, something that's actually tangible in the body as far as protein. That sets the system up correctly for the day. Next would be don't skip lunch. You do need some form of protein. Hard-boiled eggs are a wonderful, easily traveled snack. And when you do have protein and vegetables for dinner, it's amazing. Those 3 meals in the day keep you from craving sugar at night. And a lot of people sit down, 7:30, 8:30, 9:30 at night, watch TV, and boy, the craving kicks in. The craving is worse for those who skip one of those meals in the day, especially breakfast.
How about fat? What do you think about fat?
I love it.
How does fat fit into this? Because I like the idea of fish for breakfast because you get the fat and the protein together.
I do too. I eat all sorts of dinner products for breakfast just because I'm not a huge breakfast fan. And, the breakfasts I do like aren't the things that I would recommend people eating, so I don't as well. But, the good fats, I can't say enough about getting good fats into your diet. And anytime you're eating fish and, even, lean meat still has good fats in it and, things like that, the avocados and, nuts if you're going to have nuts. But I generally recommend if you're going to eat nuts, get them whole and raw, soak a handful of them overnight, rinse them off, and it stimulated the enzymes in the nuts to actually be much more available to your digestion. So you really do get true fats from nuts. It's not just a toasted, roasted thing that fills you up, and there's really not a whole bunch of food value to it.
Did you? Are you familiar with a fatty acid called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid? That's in meat. I certainly am. Yeah, it's good stuff, right? And it's in meat, and it's in animal product. Yeah, yep. A lot of there's so many interesting.
It goes in the same family as GLA and EPA, DHA.
Yeah.
When you have a good balance of those in the body, the fats actually help fight pain and inflammation. So I've seen tons of patients over the years that were missing just those very basic fatty acids, and they were suffering with rheumatoid and, all sorts of weeping skin and, chronic pain. And when you got the fats correct, they could repair. Yeah, there was a fat that was used in, I forgot what it's called now, acetylmyrostoleate. Are you familiar with that one? Acetylmyrostoleate? I know the name, but I'd have to go back. It's got tremendous anti-pain properties, and there's another one called palmitoyl ethanolamide, and that's got some really interesting. These fats have interesting anti-pain properties, and the cannabinoids are related to this whole family too, by the way, which is kind of interesting. Well, CBD the thing about it is, we get all these different sort of hypes that go on where, you have to have EPA, DHA, and vitamin E was, 20 years ago. And quite frankly, it's all in a balance. And I have a lot of patients that, will take one of these things that they've heard about because the marketing has been so good on it. And what they do is they imbalance other fats. That's so true. That's just as harmful to the system. Italians have a tendency to have an imbalance in certain of these because they eat so much olive oil and they're not having the other types. As soon as you add the other types to their diet, their arthritic situations go away and they balance it out. That's a very good point. And of course, Italy's been really hard hit by this latest viral pandemic thing that's going on. Anyway, Dr. Julie Gatza, that was awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. And your website is naturessources.com. Naturessources.com. Best of luck to you. Stay healthy and well. And if they want to call the 1-800 number, we have what is that? 1-800-827 7656, and if they use the code radio, they can have 20% off their first order. What I would say right now, and we have it, the same, is I ordered a number of them at one time because I want it for anyone in the household that does need it. And quite frankly, I'm putting everyone in my household on the 30-day course again. And it's time to just, get the body as healthy as we can because we want to be able to fight this. If we do get it, it's generally not the end of the world for most of us. This is something that, Dr. Gatza, we're out of time. Doc, we're out of time. Thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate it. Good luck to you. All right, that's Dr. Julie Gatza, and that's all the time we have for today. Have a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We'll talk to y'all later. Bye for now.